Imagine waking up tomorrow and discovering that every piece of money in the world has suddenly become worthless.
The numbers in your bank account are still there.
The notes are still in your wallet. The coins still look exactly the same. But nobody accepts them.
You walk into a shop.
You offer a $100 bill. The shopkeeper looks at you and simply shakes his head. That paper is worth nothing. Suddenly, the food on the shelves is more valuable than the money in your pocket. And that raises a disturbing question. What actually makes money valuable? Is it the paper, the metal, the government, the gold behind it? Or is money valuable because millions of people simply agree that it is?
Today, we live inside a system so familiar that we rarely question it.
We work for money. We save money. We borrow money. We pay taxes with it. We measure success through it. But money itself is one of the strangest inventions humanity has ever created. It isn't food. You cannot eat it. It isn't shelter. It cannot protect you from a storm. It isn't. Yet somehow, a small piece of paper can be exchanged for food, clothing, land, technology, or even an entire house. How did humanity create something so powerful? The answer begins in a world where money didn't exist. Imagine a small prehistoric community. One person has more fish than they can eat. Another has extra grain. Someone else has animal skins. It seems the fisherman needs grain. The farmer needs fish, so they trade. One fish for some grain, a skin for a tool. Everyone gets what they need. This is barter. And for a small community, it can work surprisingly well. But then the problem appears. What if the farmer doesn't want fish? What if he needs shoes? The fisherman has no shoes. The shoemaker doesn't want fish. And suddenly, the entire system breaks down. This problem became known as the double coincidence of wants. For a trade to happen, both people need to want what the other person has at exactly the same time. Imagine trying to run a...
You want a phone.
The shopkeeper doesn't want your furniture. He wants wheat. You don't have wheat. So you need to find someone who wants your furniture and has wheat. Before you can buy the phone, it would be absurd. Human societies needed something everyone would accept. Something portable, something recognizable, something that could represent value even when you didn't personally need it. And this is where the story of money becomes much stranger. Because humans began using some of the most unexpected things as money. Shells, salt, cattle, grain, beads, metal, even objects that seem completely useless today. Why? Because money does not necessarily need to be useful by itself. It needs to be trusted.
One of the most famous examples was cowrie shells.
For centuries, cowrie shells were used as money in parts of Africa, Asia, and elsewhere. They were small, durable, easy to carry, and difficult enough to obtain that people were willing to accept them as valuable. But the real breakthrough came when humans discovered a material with properties almost perfectly suited to money: metal. Metal did not rot like food. It could be divided. It could be shaped. It could be transported. And some metals were rare enough to hold significant value in small amounts. Copper, silver, and eventually, gold was especially strange. It was soft. It wasn't particularly useful for farming. It didn't build houses. It didn't feed armies. Yet humans became obsessed with it. Why? Because gold had qualities that made it extraordinarily attractive as a store of value. It was scarce. It resisted corrosion. It could be melted and reshaped. And unlike many other materials, it remained visually recognizable for centuries. A gold object could survive the collapse of a kingdom and still be valuable to the people who discovered it generations later. But gold alone wasn't enough. People needed a standardized way to measure it. And that led to one of the greatest financial inventions in history: coins. Around the 7th century BCE, standardized precious metal coinage emerged in Lydia, in western Anatolia. Suddenly, instead of weighing metal every time a transaction happened, the people could use pieces of metal with an officially recognized weight and purity. The stamp on the coin mattered. It was a promise. A ruler was effectively saying, "This piece contains this much valuable metal." And if people trusted the ruler, the coin became easier to accept. But now money had gained something new: authority. A government could create it, standardize it, tax with it, and punish people who refused to accept its value. Money was no longer simply something people traded.
It was becoming an instrument of power. And once rulers understood that,
The possibilities became enormous. Empires could collect taxes across huge territories. Soldiers could be paid. Merchants could travel farther. Governments could finance armies without relying entirely on direct exchange of goods. Money helped turn scattered communities into interconnected economies. But there was a dangerous side. If a ruler controlled the money supply, what stopped that ruler from creating more?
this question would haunt civilizations for thousands of years.
And history would soon provide a terrifying answer. When rulers needed money for wars, palaces, or debts, they sometimes reduced the amount of precious metal in coins. The coin still looked official. The face of the emperor was still stamped onto it, but inside, there was less gold. the money had been quietly weakened. People eventually noticed. Prices rose, trust declined, and a powerful lesson emerged. Money only works when people believe the system behind it. Break that trust, and even the most powerful currency can begin to collapse. But humanity had not yet reached the most revolutionary stage of the story. Because eventually, people would create money that didn't need to contain gold. Money that didn't even need to be made of valuable material.
Just a promise. Just ink,
Just numbers. And once that happened, the entire meaning of money would change forever. The strange thing about money is that its power was never really inside the coin.
it was inside the belief.
A silver coin could be melted down and turned into something else. A gold coin could disappear into the ground.
But if millions of people believed a particular coin represented value, that tiny object could travel across kingdoms and command goods, labor, and even loyalty.
And eventually, humanity discovered something even more powerful. Money didn't need to be made from precious metal at all. It could simply represent a promise. Long before modern banknotes became common, merchants were already searching for safer ways to move wealth. Carrying bags of gold across long distances was dangerous. A merchant traveling with enough gold to buy a large shipment was effectively carrying a target on his back. Bandits didn't need to steal a warehouse. They only needed to find one traveler. So another idea emerged. Instead of physically carrying the gold, people could leave it somewhere safe and carry a written claim proving that they owned it. That simple idea helped create an entirely new relationship between paper and value.
A piece of paper could now represent something that wasn't physically there.
And that raised an extraordinary possibility. If people were willing to accept the paper, why carry the gold at all? Paper money gradually expanded, with China playing a particularly important role in the development of government-issued paper currency. By the time paper money became widespread, humanity had crossed an invisible boundary. Money no longer needed to have intrinsic value. It could function because people trusted the institution behind it. But trust can be incredibly fragile. History repeatedly demonstrated what happened when governments created too much money or lost control of their finances. One of the most famous examples came in early modern Europe. Spain brought enormous quantities of silver from the Americas into the global economy. It sounds like the discovery of unimaginable wealth, but an enormous increase in the supply of precious metal contributed to major price increases across Europe. Suddenly, having more silver did not automatically make society richer. The purchasing power of money could change.
And that revealed another secret.
Money is not wealth. It is a way of measuring and exchanging wealth. If there is more money,
I will take that loaf.
chasing the same amount of goods,
That will be 2 coins.
prices can rise.
No, it is.
The distinction sounds simple, but entire societies have learned it the hard way. Then came the age of banks. Banks transformed money from something people simply carried, but into something that could be deposited, transferred, borrowed, and multiplied through credit. A merchant no longer needed to keep every coin in a chest. A farmer could borrow money to buy land.
Governments could borrow to fight wars.
The economy became increasingly built on something invisible: debit. And debit created a strange new world. A bank could lend money today in exchange for a promise of repayment tomorrow. But what if the borrower failed? What if thousands of borrowers failed at once?
The answer would eventually shake entire nations.
Because once money became connected to banking, a crisis in confidence could spread faster than any army. During financial panics, people could rush to withdraw their savings. Banks might not have enough cash immediately available for everyone. Fear could create more fear. And suddenly, money became psychological. People weren't only reacting to what they owned. They were reacting to what they believed everyone else was about to do. Then the industrial world accelerated everything. Factories produced goods at unprecedented scales. Railways connected cities. Telegraphs moved information across continents. Trade became global.
Money needed to move just as quickly.
Banks developed increasingly sophisticated systems for transferring value. But the biggest transformation was still waiting. Paper money gradually became less connected to the physical gold stored behind it.
For centuries, many countries operated under forms of the gold standard, linking currencies to gold at fixed rates.
The idea was simple. Money represented something scarce and tangible. But maintaining that connection became increasingly difficult, especially during wars and economic crises. Governments needed flexibility. They needed to spend. They needed to respond to emergencies. And eventually, the world moved away from the gold standard. The United States ended the dollar's convertibility into gold in 1971.
It was a historic turning point.
The dollar was no longer exchangeable for gold. Money had entered a new era. Fiat money. Its value depended largely on trust in governments, institutions, and the economy, rather than a promise to exchange every note for a specific amount of gold.
To many people, this sounds terrifying.
If money isn't backed by gold, what is it actually backed by? The answer is complicated. It is supported by the legal system, taxation, economic activity, institutions, and most importantly, collective confidence. If people believe a currency will remain useful, they accept it. If confidence collapses, the consequences can be devastating. History has shown this repeatedly through episodes of extreme inflation. In some cases, prices rose so rapidly that money lost value almost as soon as people received it.
People needed enormous quantities of currency to buy ordinary goods.
The paper remained physically intact,
But its purchasing power disappeared. Again, the lesson was the same. Money is ultimately a social. Then came a revolution that would make even paper money seem old-fashioned. Computers, bank accounts became digital. Money could be transferred without physical cash. A person could send value across the world with a few keystrokes. Credit cards transformed everyday spending. Online banking made physical bank branches less necessary. And eventually, something happened that would have sounded impossible to an ancient merchant. Money became almost invisible. You could earn it without touching it.
Spend it without seeing it. Spend it without seeing.
Transfer it without carrying anything.
And today, enormous amounts of money exist, primarily as digital records.
But this created a new question. If money can exist entirely as information, who controls that information? Banks? Governments? Technology companies? Or individuals? That question helped create one of the most controversial financial experiments of the modern era. Bitcoin. In 2009, an unknown creator using the name Satoshi Nakamoto introduced a decentralized digital currency designed to operate without a traditional central authority.
Instead of relying on a central bank to maintain the ledger, Bitcoin used a distributed network and cryptographic technology.
It was an attempt to answer an ancient problem with modern technology. Can people create a system of value without requiring complete trust in a single central institution?
Whether Bitcoin ultimately transforms money or becomes a historical curiosity remains a matter of debate.
But its existence reveals something important.
Humanity is still experimenting with money.
We haven't finished inventing. From shells to silver, to gold, to coins, to paper, to bank accounts, to digital balances. The form keeps changing. But the underlying idea remains remarkably consistent. Money allows strangers to cooperate. A farmer can grow food for someone he will never meet. A programmer can build software for a company thousands of kilometers away. A worker can exchange hours of life for a number on a screen, and later,
Use that number to obtain things created by millions of other people.
that is extraordinary. Money is essentially a language. A language that allows billions of strangers to communicate value. But it is also one of the most powerful forces ever created.
It can build cities, finance wars,
Create fortunes. Destroy savings. Reward innovation. And concentrate power. And perhaps that is why the history of money is really the history of human trust.
Because every time you hand over a note,
Tap a card, or transfer a digital balance.
You are participating in an agreement that existed long before you were born. Every payment,
You are trusting that someone else will accept what you give them. This value only works because we all agree.
and they are trusting that someone else will accept it tomorrow. The paper isn't the magic. The numbers aren't the magic.
The gold isn't even the magic. The magic is the belief shared between millions of people that this invisible system will continue to work.
And perhaps the strangest thing about money is this. Humanity spent thousands of years searching for something valuable enough to use as money, only to eventually discover that the most valuable ingredient was never gold, silver, or paper. It was trust. And as long as people continue to believe, money will continue to move through the world. But the moment that belief disappears, even the richest civilization can discover just how fragile its wealth really was.